went live. So in the background we have the channel and I'm awkwardly holding my phone out here trying to find somewhere useful for it to live. So bear with me a second. Welcome if you are here, just give me some thumbs up, etc. I'm going to try and bring the chat up onto another device so I can answer questions more easily than my phone. And I'm also going to have to fiddle around and get the phone mounted better than it is right now, because my left arm does not count as a suitable phone mount. So yes, should be fun. Looking forward to a Q&A. And obviously wait till people come in and then we'll get the Q&A going. Ask me anything. We've got about half an hour, 40 minutes at the most, something like that. And yeah, as I say, looking forward to it. Last time I did a live event was during the 1,000 subscriber event. So this is going to be just a completely random and spontaneous Q&A, which is what I thought I would do today. So bear with me 2 seconds while I get set up. Whoever's here, say hello in the comments or give me a thumbs up. I look forward to this unfolding. Bear with me 30 seconds while I sort out a better mounting for this phone, because this is fairly atrocious. So we'll just do that and we'll be with you. I hit the button just a tad earlier than I planned to, so we are live just a tad earlier than I wanted to be. That's what's going on. I wonder who it is. It's Benjamin. Why is up, down, orthogonal in QM? Oh, okay. There's a deeper question than I was planning to be fielding off the cuff in a Q&A, but thanks for asking, mate. I have no clue is the short answer to that one, but I think you knew that was going to be the answer. In the background, we have a selection of recent videos. Still trying to work out what on earth the world wants to hear from me. I know I've got a lot of different topics I could share. Benjamin's going to say it should be quantum mechanics. Hello, second person, whoever's joined, welcome. Good to see you. Just getting my mounting sorted, and I shall be with you. It's a little bit overkill, this mount. What I'm using here is a gimbal. It's a really cool kind of gimbal mount thing that stabilizes and gimbals a phone. But yeah, it's fun. You can even track your face and stuff, though probably not in the YouTube app. I really wish I hadn't hit the go live button as early as I did now. It didn't actually say go live. It said next, and then it was live. So, hey, we shall deal with these things. Who is the second person in the chat, I wonder, that isn't Benjamin? That is my next question. Not that you're not the most important person in the chat, Benjamin, but I just wondered who the other one was. In a minute, I'll stop fiddling around and be able to stand still and actually talk properly. Also, attempt to switch to a better mic than this in a second, and you'll be able to tell me whether that's worked. And next time, I'll do all this before we start, rather than after we start. Here you go. We're on the gimbaled mounty thing now. There you go. Whoa, sorry if I'm making people seasick. How on earth does this work? No? It's so clever, this thing. It knows when the phone's not mounted properly and things. Aha, here you go, we're getting better. There you go. A little bit of fill light. Can't take my glasses off, unfortunately, otherwise I'm not going to be able to see anything. But we'll do something about that. Lower you down so it doesn't look like you're looking down on me, or vice versa. Let's try and be nice and level. What does it mean to have a zero dot product? Now that one I can answer, if I just remember exactly what the dot product is. You're asking for the dot product, not a cross product. Okay, so the dot product is a projection. It's the magnitude of one thing times the magnitude of another, cosine the angle between them, if I remember. And it just means that there is no projection. So if I had these two vectors and I dot product, then this is the dot product down here. It's the projection down. If I'm at 90 degrees, the dot product would be 0. So that's it. It's the magnitude of one vector times the magnitude of the other, multiplied by the cosine of the angle between them, and cosine 90 is 0. So that dotted with that would just be the product of those two, that producted with that. And then as you go here, the dot product is smaller and smaller and smaller down to 0. SK, hello SK, welcome. It's going to be completely random Q&A if Benjamin's going to ask about things like dot products, but that's fine. SK, where did you find out about us? What videos have you seen, etc.? I'll be interested. I was going to do a short today, but I thought, you know what, stuff it. I will do a, not a long, a Q&A. Now people are coming in, 7 people. So Ben, doing a completely random Q&A, ask me anything about anything you've seen on the channel, or about anything about my background, etc. Well, the topic can be whatever we make it. That's kind of the point of a live Q&A. I can answer questions about recent content, or any content. So recently I've been doing things quite across the board. As you know, if we look at the playlists, we cover DIY, electrics, physics, and there is a theme to all this, and the theme really is my interests, but I haven't yet coalesced this down into a beautiful 6-word saying, because as with Game Dev TV, my last business, it took me years before we worked out what we do there is teach people to code by making games, learn to code by making games. It's going to take weeks or longer, months probably, before we get such a clear vision here. If you wonder why I'm looking down there, I'm trying to see if I can get the chat up on the iPad, but don't think I can. I'll persist with that. I'm also just going to try and get a better mic going, so bear with me a second there. And I'm sure one of you will be able to tell me whether this succeeds when I try and switch mic. DJI Mic 2, beautiful little devices, but now that the live stream is already going, it may or may not change input to it. We'll see what happens. What do we got? I like fishing. Well, that's cool. Fishing is something I have never done any of, and to be honest with you, not to break rapport, I have very little interest in doing, but I suspect it's something I'm missing out on, and I bet you there's more to it. Okay, I think that's better. It's actually a good sign that it was muted. That means I think that the phone did accept this input. So tell me if it's fixed. Fixed, awesome. And it's this thing here, right? And you hear the tapping. And then we know, oh, awesome. Okay, cool, thank you. Now, give me another 5 seconds, and then I will have questions down here where I can see them properly, and we can get into this. As I say, this went live approximately 5 minutes earlier than I really wanted it to, which was a bit of fun. But do formulate your 6-word challenge that you were talking about, because that I'm quite interested in. Here you go. I now have the chat. Very clear. Awesome. So let me catch up with the chat down there. SK likes fishing. Gunter, yes, please do attempt a 6-word saying, but you're going to have to, well, go for it. I don't know what you're going to do it on. You hold your pole for hours and sometimes shake it about. That is true. Guilty as charged, Benjamin. What's a kind of science? I'm not sure what's a kind of science. Love to India, by the way. We have love from India, so love back to India. Kevin, welcome. Everybody, welcome here. Good to see you all. You sound like a man. When did you transition? Yeah, good one. I don't remember transitioning. Are you a professor? No, so I'm not a professor as such, but I do teach. So I've never qualified as a teacher, but I accidentally started a very successful business called Game Dev TV, where we have about 2 million people learning to make video games online. That business is now running itself, and I now like to share more than just what I know about computing and game development. So computer science is something I love, but physics is something else I love, and getting my hands dirty doing DIY building work, etc. is something else I love, and there's a whole bunch of passions, actually, I've had over the years. So this gives me the opportunity to start and find the next thing that resonates with other people and that I can help share. So not an official teacher, but having taught, built a business that's taught over 2 million people to learn to code from scratch, you could say I'm a teacher, but you're explaining fishing. Who is explaining fishing? So Benjamin was explaining fishing, okay. Were you satisfied with my dot product explanation, Benjamin? That would be my next question to you. Or do you need more dot products? Was it a test, or do you actually just not know how dot products work? I'm going to get a bit more light in this room as well. Where's my phone? Ah, there's my phone. I'm using it for this live stream. Yes, okay, cool. You're happy. I just had to remember the difference between a dot product and a cross product, which is easy to confuse, but they're very different. A dot product gives you a scalar out, just gives you a number out. It basically tells you something about the combination of how big are these two vectors and how orthogonal are they, or how parallel are they. If they're big and parallel, you get a huge number. If either of them is small, or they're or then anywhere near 90 degrees, you get a very small number. Cross products do something completely different. They give you a vector, and it works almost opposite. Up and down are not orthogonal. Don't know. That's true. That's what I consider to be orthogonal. So, what have we got? Nothing else. So what we could do, have you ever visited India? No, I have not visited India. I would love to visit India. I was going to visit India on a motorbiking trip with the CEO of one of my companies, Game Dev TV. We never quite did it. He went to the Himalayas, went up Everest instead. I kind of regret not going, but not really, hearing all their horror stories about food poisoning, etc. But when in the Himalayas. But yeah, India is a place I would really like to visit. Maybe I'll go with the family sometime. But yeah, thanks for asking. What we could do is we could talk through a few of these as a conversation starter. So if we just go with some of the most recent stuff, this one was interesting, well, interesting to me. It's interesting to me that lights, and I've probably got one here I can use again as an example, that somebody's got something a bit backwards, bass-ackwards, as my friend John likes to say, about color temperature. Because if a light, like the light here that's shining on me is pretty yellow, if it's yellow and it's warm, then it has a low color temperature. And yet, as the color temperature goes up, the light gets whiter. Think of going from a flame to the sun. And yet we call it cool white. So it's really interesting. When you go to buy a lamp, you're like, so this is a cool white, that white there. You go to buy a lamp, you need a high Kelvin number. This might be, I don't know what that is, maybe 5,000, 6,000 Kelvin, something like that. A very high color temperature, similar to the temperature of the surface of the sun in terms of its spectrum. And then if you were to roll, if I hit the right button, 1 second. These funny little lights. If I roll it around to really yellow like this might be 2,500 Kelvin, 3,000 Kelvin, something like that, which sounds like a low temperature, and yet it's warm, and the other one was a high temperature and it's cold. Anyway, somebody somewhere in the history got that messed up, but when you buy a bulb, or lamp, should we say, get it around the right way. So no, I have not visited India in answer to the last thing in the chat, but thank you for that. If I do a heart, what happens? Does it just put a heart in the chat? I don't know, God knows. New to live streams. All right, so what else do we have? That was an ASMR video. I've started to do some ASMR stuff. I think that stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Reflex or something. You know, the type of videos where you watch them and you kind of just feel that it's oddly satisfying. We're doing occasional ones of those, maybe one a week. There's a couple of reasons for that. Hopefully people find them oddly satisfying. And then the other thing is it really allows me to get on with things and actually get something done here while still producing content. So I put a microphone, one of these microphones, on my watch strap, which is quite cool. I literally clip it on there. I can show you like that. And then it picks up all the sounds of what I'm doing. And with some editing magic, you get ASMR type videos, which is fun. This one was a cop-out. This was me realizing it's too late in the day to record a video and making a video about doing things when you don't feel like doing them, which I can only do once. I've played that card now. I thought that the clock tower would have been a cool video. Nobody liked it. And it's really, at the moment, for me, very random and very unpredictable what people are going to engage with and what they aren't. So I'd love to hear from the few people who've decided to come here what you want to see, because at the moment I'm just throwing shit, as they say, against the wall and seeing what sticks, because that seems to be the best way to find out what people want. And what people like here seems to be very different to what people like on TikTok. On TikTok, me playing with a slinky has created all sorts of commotion. Oh, by the way, Benjamin, if you're still here, I don't know if you've seen the thing with a slinky where you hold it extended. I was doing it in the stairwell, and then you drop it, and when you drop it, the bottom of the slinky stays exactly where it is, and the top just comes down. It just stays frozen in space. It's really cool until the top hits it. So here's the slinky, and you let go of the top, you let it settle, so boing, 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 settles, and then you let go of the top, and this happens. It's so cool to see. And when I first saw it, it's like, fuck, that is really interesting and counterintuitive. So yeah, I'll do a video on that very shortly. So, but not today. What else do we have? We had a very popular thing about toilet rolls and projectiles. I had to buy this device here, which is called a chronograph. I originally bought a radar one, but it didn't work properly. So this is an interesting looking little device. You have a couple of different sets of beams, LED beams here. So you just have infrared LEDs here and some receivers down here and a fixed distance. And when something passes through here, you get a speed. In fact, even my hand will probably give you a speed. Oops, if I don't hit it. Yeah, that was 14.5 meters a second that I just put my arm through there at, because that's the delay, basically. You know, speed is distance over time. They take that distance, divide it by the time between breaking this beam and this beam, and it gives you an answer. I nearly made one of these things from scratch, which kind of, this thing feels like it is. It's kind of hokey. It's all kind of hot glue gun together inside, but does the job. So, and that allowed us to answer questions about whether homemade toys, like firing coins out of balloons — in fact, I think I've got the balloon gun just over there somewhere — are legal or not legal. And it turned out to be right on the borderline, which was interesting. Yeah, so Benjamin's talking about the heat of the way we describe hot and cold things. Yeah, hot things do tend to be orange, but even hotter things end up being white, that's the confusion for me. So you go from orange through to a white. So anyway, somewhere in the history, I'll look it up someday, somebody stuffed something. So what else to say? So yeah, here's another ASMR video. There's some coming out about the Earth, the radius of the Earth, measuring the radius of the Earth, answering some of these ridiculous flat Earth questions like why doesn't water fly off at the equator, etc. So we're seeing those types of videos coming out. DIY and DIY related videos. I thought this one was cool about Pythagoras. Here what I did is I wanted to test that, well, obviously we know Pythagoras works in 3D. The sum of the square on the hypotenuse of a triangle is the sum of the square on the two opposite sides. But that works in 3D, and that's what I was doing here. So these balls were 2 meters apart and a meter off the ground. And I thought that was pretty satisfying. So check that one out if you wish. The algorithm didn't like it, but I did. I thought it was fun to do. This is interesting. I did some work on a wall. I don't know where the work on the wall is, a few videos back. And I got a lot of kickback because the way that I patched a hole in the wall was shit, frankly. It was really unprofessional. I used an elastic band and a lollipop stick that I called a cocktail stick, even though. So anyway, I got it wrong on a lot of fronts. And I learned a lot by doing it. Not very professional. What I should have done to patch the hole in the wall is something much quicker using screws. But anyway, I did it the way I did it. I shared it because I found the trick satisfying. And everyone's saying the wall is not going to be any good and it's not strong enough. But actually, where that happened was up in this part of this video here. So in the video where I'm hanging off the shelves, that wall ended up absolutely perfect. And the wall was strong enough for me to not only put heavy wooden shelves on, but hang off them. Because it was properly screwed through into the stud work. So it all came good in the end, but I do accept that the way I did it was absolutely atrocious. So that's that. Yeah, so we're getting a few kind of mathematical curiosity videos, like could my son ever find every possible pattern on this funny colourful thing he's got? The short answer is absolutely not. It would take him, I think it was 10 trillion times the age of the universe I worked out to find all the permutations, all the patterns, but that was that. So that's an overview of the short form content, and there's loads more. I've been doing a short form video every single day since we started the channel, and I will almost certainly do one today, depending on how lively this Q&A is. And how much time I have before CrossFit. And then the long form videos have slowed down a little bit, simply because they were just taking a long time to produce, and the most recent ones were not producing a lot of results. I have 2 or 3 long form videos that, most importantly, I'm excited to produce. So they are coming. One's likely to be on projectiles. The other is a very simple thing. A lamp in the bathroom is flickering like mad and not working. I'm probably going to take people through step by step. What is that? Is it the supply or is it the lamp itself? It's an LED lamp. My intuition said it was the lamp. But not to spoil it, it isn't the lamp, it's something else, and it's a question of thinking through that. Maybe get the oscilloscope out, maybe have a look at these things a bit more closely. So that's that. These are weird, these Q&As, because I just have to either talk continuously, or I can't even entertain you guys with music because of music rights. So I think these will work better when the channel's bigger and the chat's coming in like mad. But do fire up the chat as much as you can, because otherwise it's just going to become a monologue. And if it's a monologue, it may as well be pre-recorded, because then it can be more thought about. So I will stop talking a second, grab myself some water from wherever it is, and see if you can get 1 or 2 questions, comments, or conversation starters in the chat before I'm back. I'd love to hear, by the way, who you are and where you're from. I know in the case of Benjamin, but others, it would be cool. Hey, Jean Ed, I know who that is. Hey, mate, how are you, mate? I thought I'd do a live this afternoon just for fun. The last one was the 1,000 subscriber special. I thought, hey, why not just do another live just to see how that goes? Bit different to Clubhouse. I kind of like the interactivity of Clubhouse, but this is something different. The problem is, I have to keep putting my glasses back on to even read the comments. Yeah, good to see you, man. Hopefully your YouTube ventures are going well. Yeah. Cool. I think I can solve this reflection by simply putting 2 lights instead of one right where the camera is, but that's for another day. This went live like 10 minutes before I wanted it to, because the next button turned out to be the go live button. So it's a bit of a clusterfuck in the beginning, if you excuse the expression. So who do we have here? We have Jean, I know who you are. We have Benjamin. We have the chap from India, welcome. I don't know if Kevin is still here and SK, they may have tailed off. But let's keep the convo going. Trying to work out how this works. Yeah. Any questions from you guys? I know we speak, a bunch of us speak on Clubhouse every day, but if there's any questions or anything that would benefit from the video format, let me know. I will click this up on the shorts for some more what do you call it? Not inflammation. That's the wrong word. Inspiration. What other shorts did we have? This is the video that caused all the controversy. People hated me showing them how to fill a hole in a wall using cocktail sticks, which actually weren't, they were lollipop sticks. People really didn't like that, which is good because that's more learning points. Just making sure that I've got everything in the chat. It's saying live top chat messages. I don't know if I'm seeing all chat messages. I think I am, which is good news. Okay. What else? This thing did quite well, over 12,000 views. This is a Lego thing that my son made. It's just a complete amalgamation of a whole bunch of different Lego models. He just kind of put them all together, and he kept insisting I put it on YouTube, and it actually did pretty well, which I was surprised about. I thought the USB-C power exploration would do well. It did atrociously. Who knows? I had no idea that a Slinky video would do so well, particularly on TikTok, by the way. That got 560,000 views over on TikTok. Why did it get 560,000 views? I have no idea, but it did. I have got a really cool Slinky follow-up video to do, which everyone's going to really like. The firearms videos create a certain amount of controversy where I'm firing coins and stuff. We were looking at the energy of the projectiles and whether that was above or below the legal threshold, realizing that if you are going to be able to see that screen, I think I need to be, there you go. If I'm brighter, then the screen, the exposure will work out for the screen better. My son-in-law, it's not my son-in-law, it's just my son. And yes, he's just been amalgamating Lego models. Tape measures is an interesting one. People like tricks about tape measures. It's amazing how many features. Why don't tape measures come with a fucking instruction leaflet? Excuse my German. It's amazing the number of things about tape measures, including myself, people don't realize. And they don't seem to come with a little booklet. You just need a booklet with, here's 10 important things to know about a tape measure. Anyway, because they don't, that gives you the opportunity to do tape measure videos, which is fun. And then we're just going back in time and seeing what else we had. This one was very popular, this crazy thing with the arm where you put your arm, what do? You put your arm out to a wall like this, like measure so you're exactly up against a wall, then you put your arm by your side, relax it, then you touch your shoulder like this and then rub your elbow, and then when you put your arm out again it doesn't get to the wall, something to do with the way you're setting your shoulder. That's interesting, that did really well on TikTok. Yeah, so, and this one's fun as well. This plays with your proprioception, your body's feeling of where your arms are. So you lie near the floor and you just watch the video, you'll see. So I'm just picking a highlight of a few things that I've found fun to do at least. What else do we have? I don't know. A couple of these weren't recorded for the channel. This throwing the cap on a brother-in-law's head was done years ago. We were just walking in the field, I just kept throwing the cap. Of course, missing like anything on TV. And eventually it lands and that's the one take you see. And then that's the artificial life that you're getting exposed to, as if you can do that first time. Of course, with the magic of a camera, you don't need to do it first time. So that was that. Yeah, and then we're right back to the beginning of the channel here. Most of these we've discussed a lot of times. Yeah, I still can't do this. I still can't do my double skipping properly. It's really annoying. Nearly there, but still can't quite do it properly. TikTok. Woo, your son-in-law is doing good work. I mean the TikTok dude. Oh, I see. As in putting all the videos over to TikTok. Yes, he's not quite son-in-law, not married yet. Yeah, but they are doing good work, cross-posting all the videos. TikTok and Instagram seem to be completely different. They get completely different types of feedback. Instagram, I've got a bunch of professional tradespeople quite rightly telling me that the way I filled that hole was awful. But it's the most commented video. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you create stuff that creates controversy and you get more engagement, as I'm sure our friend Benjamin would agree with. I don't really want to create controversy, but if that's going to be the way ultimately to get more engagement on topics, happy to do it. I'm not doing it on purpose, though. I'm doing it by being a clown. That's my way of creating controversy. I just do stuff badly, often by mistake. So that is that. I was going to do this really cool slinky video today, which you guys will have seen before, where you suspend a slinky like this. Here's the top of the slinky, here's the bottom. You let it equilibrate, so the bottom just ends up here. You let go of the top, and this happens. It's amazing. The bottom just freezes in space, and then this happens. And it's really cool. And the reason, well, a very simple way of looking at the reason that must be the case is because the bottom here, before you let go, has found equilibrium, right? However, whatever viewpoint you want to look at this through, it's not moving relative to me, to the camera. For whatever reason, whether you want to consider that it's the force on the spring balancing gravity, whether you want to ignore gravity and just talk about the fact the spring's accelerating upwards, I don't care how you look at it, the fact is it's not moving. And when you let go of the top, it can't know that you've done that, is the point, until the sound wave gets there. That's the fastest the top of the spring can communicate with the bottom, and a sound wave in a spring is really slow. So then that would lead to a question. Here's a good question for the chat, if you guys want a physics question. So now I've got this same slinky here hanging, but this time I put a weight on the bottom. So instead of it hanging this long, it suddenly hangs this long. Now, if there's a weight on the bottom and I cut the top, what happens? Does the same thing happen? Do we still get this happening? Or does something different happen because there's a weight on the bottom? So to be clear, I have a slinky, it would hang naturally here. I put a weight on the bottom, it now hangs naturally here. And then I release the top, what happens? Is it this or something different? And why? I just told you why it happens on a unweighted slinky, and that should give you the information you need to predict what would happen on a weighted slinky, but let's find out in the chat. I know that you, Jean, or I don't know what else I want to call you. I won't use your other name from Clubhouse because that would be doxing you a little bit. I think you might want to hazard an answer or a guess. I have no clue, by the way, how many people are in this live stream. I don't know if I trust the numbers. I think it's a tiny number. One says 7, the other says 4. Small numbers, fine, intimate. If there's not some engagement in the chat shortly, though, I'm going to shut it down so it's not a monologue, and I'm going to go off and record a short of the day, despite the fact I've lost the sunlight. So I have half an hour before I go to CrossFit and beast myself in some new way. Anybody want to predict what happens with the weighted slinky before I go? Oh, look what I found. A bunch of the props. Remember that? So, should be similar in principle. I think the speed of the wave is faster with higher tension. Yeah, I mean, but what I'm really asking is what happens to the bottom of this slinky? Does it still stay where it is? So, slinky was hanging like this. I weight it. It ends up equilibrating here. And then I let go of the top. Does the bottom still freeze in space in that beautiful way that it does unweighted? And why? I think you're on the right track there, Shamash, because you've already said you think it will weight as well. Yeah, I do too, and it will. And the reason is that, again, the information can't travel from the top of the spring any faster than the speed of sound in the spring. So, yeah, basically the bottom of the spring doesn't know you let go of it, which is fun. Just going to look over and see if there's any other cool stuff. The stilts, I'd like to do a lot more content on the stilts. I want to get to the point where I can do like somersaults on these stilts, lethal as that sounds. But the problem is I've got nowhere to use them at this time of year because unless the ground is really hard, they're lethal out on the grass because they just sink in and then you're in trouble. So that might not be till the spring. I've done enough breathing helium for now, although I don't mind it doing it live if, oh no, the bottle's been tidied away. No more helium. What else have we got? There will be some more electrical stuff. Health and fitness, who's interested in the health and fitness content as much as any of the other stuff? I'd be interested to hear in the chat. I don't do as much of that as I could, but I am like a 90-something percentile healthy, fit, strong guy for my age and probably should share some of the ways that happens. I don't, for whatever reason, do it very much, but I'm very happy to. Ultimately, I think we're going to end up being multiple channels, but we shall see. At the moment, I'm finding my voice and having fun doing it. So you're right, Jean. It will wait as well. I think that's true. So welcome, by the way, to anybody else who's joined the stream. If you have joined the stream, just say who you are and where you're from in the world. That would be great. Or just say hi from Germany or hi from wherever. Then I can see your name on there, and I can welcome you in. This is an off-the-cuff daily, not daily live stream. I'm not committing to doing daily live streams at all, but I just thought I'd do a live stream instead of a short today, just for fun. Another experiment we've done is we posted the first long-form video on TikTok, because TikTok has shown we've got nearly 1 million total views on TikTok now. So I thought, let's just post a video on TikTok and see how that does. A long-form video, like it's 20 minutes, the one where I cut the live cable. So there's that to talk about, potentially. We'll just see how that goes. So the other topic area that I've got a lot of depth of knowledge to share, and I'm just starting to touch on, is IT-related stuff, computer technology. So I did one here on is your data safe? Nobody gave a shit, 180 views. Everybody has precious information on their phones and computers. Nobody seems to want to know the 3-2-1 principle of backup or whatever, so fine. I won't keep talking about it. But what I will do with a given topic, though, is I will try it up to 5 times, whatever it is, before I assume that people don't care or this audience doesn't care. And then I'll move on. So you might see me try something a few times before I get the hint. It should be a similar in principle. Yes, it will wait as well. What's the we? Oh, okay. The we celebration from you, John, is probably the nearly 1 million views on TikTok. Yeah, it's something like 900,000, something like that last time I looked. Most of that's that Slinky video. And then this ARM video here has also done extremely well. So there's that. I don't know what else to share really today. The weekend has been a weekend of a virtual seminar. Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within. A huge amount of jumping around like this all weekend with friends in the sitting room. That's been good. That's been very interesting. Yeah, back to normal life now, really. So, and what else have we got? Okay, way more about IT than CrossFit from you, John. Yeah, I'm sure you do. IT sounds so dull, though. I mean, how dull does IT sound? What from you are you interested in with regards to like IT? Is it programming? Is it AI? Is it use of technology tools? Is it, just give me some idea, or ask a question and we'll see whether it's in my wheelhouse. Happy to do that. Again, if you joined the chat, the stream, please just pop in, just say hi from wherever you are in the world. Just the country will do just fine. That would be really helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it. And just a quick check while we're here, because this is all new. Quick check that this is the mic again. I'm going to tap it, which is going to be really annoying, but at least I'll know it's the mic. I think it is. Did you hear tap, tap, tap? I won't keep testing this if that worked that time. The thing is, you plug a little USB thing in the bottom of the phone and it may or may not take over the audio. There's no way on the iPhone to know. You can't choose the audio source unless the app exposes that API, which most don't. Blackmagic Cameras does. There you go. That was an IT thing. You're very ignorant. You try your best to keep up to date with new tech here. Yep, cool. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. So, okay, I think I'm going to give myself the challenge of getting a short out in the next 20 minutes. But also, before I go, Jean, why are you not interested in, well, you said you're not interested in CrossFit. That's understandable. It's not for everyone. Not everyone's ready to even start. But do I abstract that you're not interested in health and fitness in general, or are you just not interested in CrossFit? That would be very interesting. The seminar is just at the last day, which is all about health and fitness and energy. Now, whether it's because it's the last day or because of the topic, actually ends up being quite quiet compared to the others, which is talking about belief systems and empowerment and you know, values and all the rest of it. It's quite interesting how people don't put their health first. I don't understand that, but everyone has different value systems. I'd like to hear a bit more about that. Need to get the glasses back on. These are a pain in the arse. Contact lenses are going to be the thing, I think. I just know exercise is good for you, and that's good enough for me. That's cool. Is it a Q&A from Kay or a conversation? Yeah, I'd love it to be a Q&A, Kay rather, just ask your question. And also Blue Moon, nice name. I'm here for help with muscle building and how the type of food you can make that affect all of the major groups. I don't know what you mean by all the major groups. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I'm in decent shape. I don't think the food you eat has an impact on different muscle groups. But if you mean the food groups, then of course you've got the macronutrients, carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Something I have realized is that if you try and go for a low-fat diet, you've got to eat, right? If you don't get the calories in, you die. So that would be the worst diet. If you try and go for a low-fat diet, that de facto means you've got to get more of your calories either from protein or fat, or carbohydrates, right? Now, either you get it from good quality protein, which you might, which means good quality, well-sourced meat, grass-fed meat or something like that, or fish or something else, or you're going to get it from carbohydrates. Now, if getting it from high-quality protein, great, but that's very expensive. If you're going to get it from carbohydrates, it's quite likely, especially if the food is cheap, that's going to end up being sugars. So actually you can have low fat, giving up good fats, which is really bad, like the sort of fat you get in avocado, fish, etc., and end up shifting that calorie source over to carbohydrates, which then could be fast-burning carbohydrates, which trigger your insulin and make your body store fat. Not very good. So I don't know whether that was what you're asking, but because there's a delay on here, I thought I'd say some stuff and see what you come back with. Building muscle, just work hard. And no, it's not all about CrossFit K. That's not K as in KB. Just tell me if you're KB, as in you'll know who you are if that's you. This is a general Q&A about a variety of topics, whatever you're inspired by from the recent shorts. So I've done a short every day since the channel started. There's a cross-section of topics at the moment which align with my interests, and if those things start to become confusing, I'll just create separate channels. But right now it's too small to be bothering to create separate channels. So fitness, DIY, and physics would be the three biggest topics that get covered. So happy to flow between those. So Blue Moon says, thanks, that makes sense. Yeah, so I just talked about macronutrient groups there. From a dietary discipline point of view, what I've been doing for a long time is just something called a slow carb diet, close to a paleo diet. It's just don't eat things that burn quickly and release insulin in my body. So that's what I do. That's how I stay at around 10-ish% body fat, even in my just approaching 50s. So 6 days a week, just don't eat any sugar, potatoes, white rice, bread, anything like that that's going to trigger my insulin, and then once a week do what the hell I like. That's my process. But I think as long as you've got something you stick to and you've got the discipline to do it, I prefer black and white rules. As soon as you get in shades of grey, not 50 shades of grey, but if you start getting in shades of grey, you have to make a lot of decisions, and then it's decision fatigue, and then it's, oh, screw it, I'll do whatever. So I prefer to just have a very clear black-white, and I found that the stuff described in Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Body book. It's years old, but it's really good. And there's a lot of probably better research, more up-to-date books that say a similar thing, all around the paleo, keto maybe, slow carb, that type of area. So, is there any legitimate concerns? I'd love to know, but also legislative issues with eating deer as a primary source of protein. Deer as in like the animal deer. I don't know. Good question. I would have a concern about eating any of one thing too much, to be honest, because of the lack of diversity in the micronutrients. But I don't know. If you've got a reason you can only live off deer, I would go check with your doctor. That's an interesting one. I don't think I need to look down there. What do you think would be the perfect add-on? Add-on to what? Oh, to deer. That's interesting. So I want to only eat deer plus something. What was that something going to be? Well, if I was only eating deer, I think I'd be taking a multivitamin as an absolute minimum. It doesn't sound very healthy to me. No, you know what? If there's going to be an add-on to deer, it would just be some green veg. If all I ate was deer, I'd want to get a lot of greens in, I think, as well as the deer. But anyway, yeah. Exactly, you've just said it, fiber vegetables. Deer plus salt and pepper, there you go. That's going to make it delicious. Lots of laughs, yeah. So that's interesting. So I'll tell you what's interesting. It's a meta point. What's interesting is that people are coming in and saying, are we talking about X? And then if I come back and say we're talking about X, Y, and Z, I think that puts some people off, because we know that people, I'm uniquely interested in, I'm unique in that I'm deeply interested in a handful of very different things. And actually, a lot of the people who are interested in, say, physics aren't so interested in fitness, and a lot of people who are interested in fitness aren't necessarily interested in DIY. They don't really correlate. So I think next time I do a live Q&A, I will focus it on one of the major niches of the channel. And I think that'll just be easier for people to come in and say, hey, today we're talking about X. So there's no confusion, and I'll put that in the title. So that's another lesson learned. Thank you, everybody. All right, I think I'm going to wind this up. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And I may or may not get a short out today now that I've done this. We'll see how we get on. But I will do another one either spontaneously when I feel like it, or when we hit some interesting number of subscribers. I think the Fibonacci numbers might be a good one. And the next Fibonacci number is 1,500 and something. I don't exactly recall. I could look it up. So you can look up what the Fibonacci sequence is if you don't know. But my next number of subscribers, the next Fibonacci number is 1597 subscribers. And then after that, it'll be 2584 subscribers. So that could be a fun way of doing live streams or little mini celebrations between here and 10,000. And otherwise, look out for those. Look out for the spontaneous one. Look out for the shorts on a pretty much daily basis. And the odd long form video will come out when I'm inspired to do it. And otherwise, I'll see you guys. Yeah, do the primes as well. I'm not doing all the primes. Excuse the phone wobbling there. There's too many, basically. There's just too many primes. I'm going to be doing live streams all the time. So Kay says, that sounds good because I don't really know how to ask for what you have expertise in. Yeah, exactly, Kay. It would be better just to absolutely focus it in. So next time I will do a Q&A on something very specific that I'm inspired on the day to talk about, and I have sufficiently deep expertise that I can help people. My depth of expertise isn't that deep on anything, although some people look like it is from the outside, in that if you compare like to a world-leading expert, but I'm really good at getting beginners started in new topic areas. I have decades of experience in a handful of things that those decades have all kind of overlapped. So for example, I just qualified, fully qualified as an electrician in the UK. That took a year and a half of full-time work. And I did that just so I can do work around my own house. So if we want questions about electrics, you can ask me. I'm going to know much more than the average DIYer, much more than the average person on the street. But you know, if you are already an electrician or you've got a really deep question, then you're probably going to ask somebody who's been doing it as a job for the last 10 years. It depends on the nature. But if I don't know the answer, I think I'm getting out my depth. I'll just say, I don't know. Go ask somebody else. So that's the solution there. All right. Yes, I'm in the UK. Thanks for subscribing. Dirty Dan says, hey, sometimes I get bored. I dive around and scream the N-word at people. Well, okay, whatever you like, whatever keeps you happy. It's nice to run around and shout nice, nice, nice to everybody. So that sounds very positive. Come on, viewership is spiking. I'm so interested in what? What are you interested in? Kay's going to come and Kay's going to spice up the live stream now. I can see it. I can tell the personality type. You get these types that help with engagement and viewership. There is a hard deadline. When people arrive home, I'm going to stop because I'm in the middle of like a living area here, and I'm not going to keep a live stream going when everybody arrives. But you, I don't know how to interpret you, mate. You're going to have to give me more than that to go on. Oh, you're interested in me. I wouldn't be interested in me. I'd be interested in yourself and your development, and if I can catalyze that somehow, I will. Who else is that? Boring. Hey, we know who that is. I'm not going to dox anybody, and I love the word. Good job. Well done finding the live stream. Yeah, you can tickle a fight with me. That would be a lot of fun. I love pulling people's legs. Only the outer two legs. I do not ever pull people's middle leg. I just want to make that super clear here publicly. Middle leg pulling does not happen on this channel, but outer legs, yeah, I like to pull. That was a really noisy drink. Okay, so look, if the viewership's good, oh no, it's up and down, I don't know. Just the fact that you, oh, okay, yeah, so electrician's license. I can tell you a bit more about that story. So basically, I got a big old place with lots of old wiring in it and stuff, and one of the things I wanted to do is get it inspected to find out like, what's the state of this place before we start doing any major works. And just in fact, there's a video coming out on Artisan Electrics. If you look for Artisan Electrics website, Google YouTube channel, I think they've got, is it 250,000 plus subscribers? They're releasing a video, I think today, in the next few hours, where they interviewed me and a few others. I'm in the last third of the video, where we say, look, I had that company round. They're a nice company. They're from a little way away, a long way from here, but they're a nice company. And they came around and they gave me a quote to do an inspection on this place. And it was so expensive, I thought, you know what, it'd be cheaper to just qualify myself. And it actually was, well, roughly the same price. Now, I realized why they quoted so much. It's a really difficult, very long, very involved job, but I didn't know that at the time. So anyway, I just thought, I've got the time, I've got the ability, why don't I go and qualify? Because I can use that as another springboard to teach people new things. So much of the world is becoming electrified, whether it's heating and cooling, transport with electric cars, basically everything relies on electricity. Just go turn your power off for 3 hours and see how you feel at the end of it. It's such an important topic, and I want to share how to do it properly, because DIY electrics is dodgy AF, because there's just a lot to go wrong, and we can get into that. So what else have we got then? We got Dan and Kay. Yeah, the regulations, there are a lot of regulations. There's a big old book. I haven't got it right to hand. It's in the other room, but it's like 700 pages. There's a whole course, a 3-day course just on how to read that book, which is crazy. But that's what it is. Yeah, there are a lot of regulations, but they're pretty common sense. They're not obvious, but once you see why they're there, they make sense. And when you do them the way you're supposed to do them, things just last longer and kill less people. So that's good to know, Dirty Dan. Yep, that's great. I'm very happy for you. Enjoy that. Being an electrician must be annoying with the thick brick walls. A little bit. I mean, just today I was drilling through a wall there, but actually these bricks, which are all exposed here, the brickwork is lime, and lime mortar is softer, and I really quite like it, actually. It was really cool to drill through earlier because I could feel I was staying in the mortar and not hitting the bricks just by the feel of it. So I actually quite like, I don't like the fact they're single skin walls that are badly insulated with a terrible U value, but I actually quite like lime mortar. It's repairable, self-healing, and quite nice and soft. Now, people have arrived home, so this is going to be the time. I said that was going to be a hard cut, regardless of any engagement. So I'm going to stick with that. Thanks for being here. I'll do another one at, I think I'll do another one when I said I would, around about the 1597 subscribers, which is the nearest Fibonacci number. If you don't know what a Fibonacci number is, go and look it up. And I'll see you on the next one. So thank you for being here. And next time it'll be a little more polished. I might know better